Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to see you again. I have a couple of household projects to tackle today. I want to go through my baking center over here and determine which ingredients should be tossed and which ingredients need to be replenished. I know that I'm running low on flour, so we will make a trip to the Mennonite General Store in Canaan, New York. They sell flour in bulk. And then for dinner tonight, we are going to make bucatini with almond butter sauce. It's super delicious. But first, I need to finish my coffee. So here are the cabinets we are dealing with. And this cabinet. And in order to organize these cabinets, I need to remove every single item from them. My baking center cabinets are not in terrible shape, but I do have duplicates and even triplicates of certain ingredients. These can be consolidated in order to save space on the shelves. Removing every item from the cabinets allows me to see what I have on hand. Items that are expired or that are never used will be ruthlessly tossed. At the end of this purging project, I should be able to clearly see what is on the shelves. After all, baking is a lot more fun when you can simply grab an ingredient without getting lost in the abyss of chaos. Apparently, I have no shortage of Argo cornstarch. Now that the first cabinet has been emptied, I can take a moment to vacuum and wipe down the shelves. I'm also wiping down the cabinet fronts, backs, and sides. The cordless vacuum you see me using here has tremendous suction power. I can link the vacuum in the description below if you are interested. Now it's time to put everything I want back into the cabinet. I put the items that I use all the time on the lower two shelves and the less frequently used ingredients on the upper shelves. My baking soda is very clumped up. Let me show you a fast way to unclump baking soda. You guys, I just made a big boo-boo. This container was aluminum-free baking powder, which I just added to my baking soda. So in addition to buying a big bag of flour today, I'm also going to buy additional baking soda and baking powder. I have a package of brown sugar here, which I'm going to add to my brown sugar bin. I have a lot of caster sugar here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Caster sugar is simply superfine or quick dissolving sugar, and I do use it in certain recipes. Unfortunately, it is all clumped up, as my baking soda was. I'm going to rinse out and dry my food processor, and then we can unclump the caster sugar. Caster sugar is lighter than granulated sugar. I use it in meringues, soufflés, and mousses. So I have one full container of cornstarch, and I have one container that's about 2/3 full, and then I only have a little cornstarch in this bottle, very little. So I'm going to add it to the other bottle. I guess these aren't actually bottles. What are they? They're not jars. They are tubs. Now that my baking ingredients have been sorted into keepers and tossers, I can return the keepers to the cabinet. I create little centers within the bigger center by grouping like items together. All of the chocolate in one place, all of the various salts in another place, and so on. Here I'm consolidating 2 half-full tubs of baking cocoa into 1 tub. I will do the same with certain other ingredients of which I have multiples. And of course, I want to put my beloved digital kitchen scale on the bottom shelf of this baking center. And my vanilla beans, which you and I use to make pure vanilla extract, can go in the freezer. Well, this part of the baking center looks great now. Let's see what we can do with the next cabinet. This next cabinet features a tall, 3-tiered Lazy Susan that I love. I have decided to empty, clean, and purge the Lazy Susan 1 tier at a time, starting with the top tier. You can't see it because of the camera angle, but the top of this Lazy Susan is crammed with several ingredients that I know, deep in my heart, I will never use. Here again, I plan to purge the space mercilessly. Yeah, I don't even remember why I bought all of these artificial sweeteners. Lavender, rose petals, all food grade, definite keepers, chocolate chips, a keeper, sanding sugar in various colors, a keeper, more sugar-free chocolate chips. Of course, if you are on a sugar-free diet, you would want these things. Ghirardelli dark melting wafers. Probably I should keep these. Matcha tea for the matcha tea cookies that you and I have made. And luster powder, also known as edible luster dust, which I love. I have all of the available colors in here. They're great for adding to icings and frostings and even drinks. I'm actually not going to toss these sugar-free items because I do know someone who is on a sugarless diet. And I think she will be happy to have these. And these can go right back onto the top rung of that three-tiered Lazy Susan, because I like the arrangement of the ingredients on this three-tiered system. The center rung contains all of the loose leaf teas that I buy from Tierra Farm. I use these teas regularly, so we'll definitely keep them. I need to consolidate my Darjeeling tea. I have multiple jars of this. And all of these jars can be washed and reused. And speaking of Tierra Farm, please don't forget that they created a special Kevin Lee Jacobs Valentine's Day gift box. And I will put a link to that box in the description below. I can also consolidate my orange spice black tea. Rose water that we used for those wonderful Earl Grey tea cookies, and various icings. Demerara sugar that I put on scones, maple syrup, and I have a nice backup supply of coconut oil. I also have a lot of the pure vanilla extract that you and I made together. When was it? September or October? And I do use pure vanilla extract regularly, so I'm going to consolidate. Actually, no. These vanilla beans are still good. I'm simply going to top them off with vodka, which is how I made the extract. And then I can put them in a dark location and let them steep until they're ready to use. This jar of honey is very sticky. I'm going to heat up a clean, damp cloth in the microwave for 30 seconds so I can melt off all of the honey on the jar. This cloth is very hot now after 30 seconds in the microwave, and it is instantly melting off the hardened honey. There, jar is no longer sticky. We can put everything back on the lower tier. And just like that, our baking center cabinets are in tip-top condition. And we can find whatever it is we are looking for. So now, let's head to the Mennonite General Store in Cana, New York, so I can buy my flour and my baking soda and some other things. I should probably explain that there is no Costco or any other bulk foods type store anywhere near me, and that is perfectly fine. The general store may be small, but it is a paradise for bakers. Unlike at my local supermarket, the general store does not have empty shelves. And the shelves are stocked alphabetically, which means you can easily find whatever you are looking for. I happened to find a couple of items that I was not looking for, and which I will show to you when we return home. This was a fun shopping trip, my friends, but then I am easily entertained. You have not lived until you have walked in an icy parking lot while carrying a 50-pound bag of flour. But I'm so glad that I have this. And besides the flour, I also bought some rather unique butter. It's Amish roll butter, Amish country roll butter. I needed more kosher salt, so I have that here. Bought a big box of baking soda. I'm out of my homegrown dried parsley, so I bought more dried parsley at the general store. 3 bags of stone ground cornmeal. I use this cornmeal for the skillet cornbread that you and I have made together. Black cocoa powder. Now, you and I will use this in a future episode because we're going to make our own Oreo cookies. Pure lemon extract, which we use for lemon cakes and other things. And I found these really great little shaker canisters. I like to keep flour and also confectioner's sugar in shaker containers. These have screw-on lids and a removable screen, which is great. That way, when I'm making bread, I don't need to scatter flour by hand. I can use the shaker. And check this out. This is an extractor. Apparently, you can plunge this into a cupcake, pull up the handle, and it will extract the center of the cupcake, which you can then fill with whipped cream or frosting or whatever you like. So I think this will be a fun gadget to use in a future episode. And look at what was on my porch when we arrived home. Three sets of oven gloves. Because my other gloves, let me show you. My other oven gloves are clean, but they are horribly stained. They look pretty gross on video. I'm going to put all of this away. I have a big pot of water coming to a boil on the stove top. And of course, we will use that water to cook our bucatini. And I need to put this 50 pounds of all-purpose flour in my food storage containers. Actually, before we go over to fill up the food storage bucket with the flour, I want to transfer the baking soda to a couple of jars. I think I will prefer having the baking soda in glass jars as opposed to this little plastic tub. And I want to label the jars. I love these screw-on lids. I can link these lids in the description below if you are interested. I can also link those oven gloves in the description. And in order to see the full description, you simply click on the title of the video. So I have 1 jar of baking soda for my baking center over here, and the other jar I will just store in my food storage area. Now let's head over to the food storage area. My food storage area is currently located in the old north wing of this 19th century house. You and I set up a seed starting station here last year. I'm dividing the 50 pounds of flour among a pair of 5-gallon food-grade buckets. These buckets are equipped with airtight, screw-on lids. I can link these food storage buckets in the description below. And speaking of seeds, all of the onion varieties that you and I planted last week have germinated. I'm happy to see this green growth during our days of frigid weather. Back in the kitchen now, I'm adding the bucatini to salted boiling water and will cook it just to the al dente stage, or about 7 minutes. And while the buccatini is boiling, I'm going to prepare the almond butter sauce. This is the almond butter that I buy from Tierra Farm. It is wonderful. But you can buy almond butter in just about any supermarket. This is unsalted organic almond butter. And I always like to give the almond butter a stir. You do not have to be exact about measurements here. My recipe says 2 tablespoons of almond butter, but that is assuming 8 ounces of pasta. I have 12 ounces of pasta, so I'm going to add a bit more. Then I need 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. I'm going to add closer to 3 tablespoons. 3 tablespoons of either tamari or soy sauce. I'm going to use 4 tablespoons. 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. I will use 2 to make up for the additional pasta. And then we simply whisk the ingredients. This has a wonderful perfume. It It's mostly from the almond butter and the sesame oil. My pasta is ready. I'm going to drain it and then rinse it under cold water. Now, the reason I rinse the pasta under cold water is because I don't want the bucatini strands to stick together. And also, bucatini with almond butter is a dish that is served cold. And here are some scallions, which we will use in the dish. Now, if you want to store scallions for a month or even 5 weeks, you might want to do what I do. Wash them really well, just under cold water. Remove any yellowed leaves, and then put them in a jar that contains 1 inch of water, and cover them either with a plastic bag or some cover that will go over the jar. And then store them in the refrigerator. So now we can add the noodles to the almond sauce. Toss the noodles. I'm using chopsticks for the job. I'm going to pop the noodles and the scallions into the refrigerator while we go light a fire. In addition to the bucatini with almond sauce, I'm also going to enjoy some of the roasted cauliflower soup that you and I made together in the previous episode. And I'm just garnishing the soup with some wonderful fresh oregano, or oregano. And here's how I assemble the bucatini. I'd like to serve this saucy bucatini in bowls and garnished with the scallion we chopped, plus crushed red pepper flakes and toasted sesame seeds. A spoon for the soup and chopsticks for the bucatini. Into the parlor. I've already eaten the soup, so let's move right on to the main course, bucatini with almond butter sauce. This might be a little messy. This bucatini with almond butter sauce is actually a really nice follow-up to the cauliflower soup. I love the meaty al dente bucatini noodles. I love the sesame oil and the tamari and the rice vinegar and the scallions and the toasted sesame seeds. This is really a perfect, although very, very simple supper. I've said it before and I will say it again. I must be the luckiest person in the world because I get to spend time with you. Thank you so much for spending time with me today as we organize the baking center. It feels great to have that job done. And we shopped at the Mennonite General Store. We restocked our baking center. We got that 50-pound bag of flour, which, believe it or not, I will go through in probably just 3 or 4 months' time. And we made this wonderful meal. If you enjoyed these videos, please be sure to tap the like button, and I hope you will subscribe. and tap the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new episode. The next episode will come out on Sunday, and until then, please treat yourself very, very well. Please try this Buccatini dish, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now, friends.